I'm going to tell you a story how I paid with 2 months of my life for looking for a rich husband. And before anybody's going to put their cliche on me and will comment some offensive things because I already have read enough, I'm going to tell you that never ever in my life, with my sanity, I will go out and look for a rich husband this way. I will tell you more about my background so you will understand where I'm coming from. But this video is more about the whole thing that is going on in Turkey and Turkish jails and what they do to women in there. I'm going to tell you about human trafficking, everything that I learned at the age of 20 when I was there for 2 months. And also, a very important thing to mention is that they were keeping me there illegally. They never had a right to keep me there even for 2 months. Because I was a student and they tried to fabricate my case. They arrested me for one reason, but then they kept me there for another reason. And what is more funny, that I took the example, like to make this video, I basically copied a video of another Turkish or European girl. But let me tell you, so many of Turkish women did the same video. I even saw a video, which I'm going to put here and there, of a man that is wearing women's clothes in the main square of Istanbul at Taksim Square, and he is also, holding a paper that he's looking for a rich husband. And none of these people were arrested. So my reasons of being there were bouncing between I'm a threat to the society with this video, to the point where I have no visa and actually I'm an illegal immigrant in Turkey.
In the very beginning, they have put a title on the cover of my file that I have no visa and I am a kind of illegal immigrant, even though my passport was with them the whole time and I had my student visa in there. Then they sued me by the law like I'm a threat to the society. But another thing they tried to fabricate onto my name was a statement that I am a spy, and they even called me an American spy. They said that to my landlord while I was in the police station.
My name is Arina and I'm from Russia, Moscow. I'm 21 years old. It's been more than 1 year now since I'm released. I was arrested on October 6, 2024. I just turned 20 years old back then, so I already had some background with Turkey. I was living in that country when I left Russia, but then after almost 1 year I moved to Sri Lanka because I started being an influencer in here. Like, I could never guess that I would become that famous, but probably after 8 to 9 months of being in here and filming my travel content, and basically a content about Sri Lanka, their language, culture, food, and what's not, I reached more than 100,000 followers on TikTok. And my things were going great in Sri Lanka. Like, I was enjoying my life in here and all, but then I realized that I want something bigger than that. And probably I want to go back to Turkey to get my degree. You guys can't even imagine. I was crying almost every night because, first of all, I wanted that degree. I really wanted to go to university. And also, I missed Istanbul so much. I missed Turkey so much. There is no way that there is a country in this world that is promoting itself as an absolute different state. Like, whatever they translate to the world, their values that they talk about, they have nothing to do with the real picture of what's going on inside of the country. And especially you can tell it from the treatment you get in them jails, because what I realized is that this is just a whole machine, which is also sponsored by European Union. I'm going to tell you about it. And their higher purpose is to destroy the minorities, is to kill the minorities, and I'm talking about mainly women of color, women with diseases, and especially immigrant women, because those jails, they're actually founded by European Union and they sponsor around 80% of these jails in order to prevent illegal immigration to Europe. So basically these jails are for illegal immigrants indeed. Like, I saw a group of Bangladeshi women in there, like 3-4 ladies that came all the way from Bangladesh by walk because they try to get to Greece or Bulgaria. Of course, in this case, word. You can arrest them, you have a right to arrest them, and you have a right to deport them or do something which is you think is right, but do not cross, a certain line to the point where women die in your prison, like, okay, we're not going there yet. And if you guys want to know, I was supposed to study international trading in English, and I was also, getting prepared for the English exam and all. Like, I was super excited. I was in that mood to be a student. I rented out a room in a very beautiful apartment in a very beautiful residence in a neighborhood that I was fond of since the times when I was in Turkey before. So everything was just gorgeous. And then I also celebrated my birthday in September. I turned 20 years old. And then I also started making my videos in Turkey. Because, of course, if I am an influencer and I already have a big audience on TikTok, I probably know the strategy, on how to really promote myself. And this must be the most plain strategy when you basically make a viral video, something which is really popular now, and then you get the audience, like you get the attention, people start following you, and after that you start posting something more niche so you can really tell the audience about who you are and what you can offer, and this and that, right? And that was my strategy because I already had a very big experience in promoting myself and other businesses too, and that was super successful. Okay, so as soon as I started making my videos on TikTok for Turkish audience, now I created a new account and everything. I was making just like some casual videos, and I'm going to show you one of them. And it was like super effortless, super natural, super fun that I would post this video, and the next day this same video would be all around, all of the Turkish public pages on X, like, which is Twitter, right? I'm gonna call it Twitter because it's the same thing for me. Big pages would post me on Instagram. Like, it was crazy. My friends would even call me and tell me, Arina, now you're a superstar. Oh my God, did you see this page that, has like few millions of followers just posted your video? And I was like, amazing. And so I saw a video of some girls making that trend that I'm looking for a rich husband. They're taking this paper where they write it down, and then they go outside to some nice neighborhood, and they stand there for some time and just basically film the reaction of the society. I think every person that is especially making videos, and you can see that they're not of their mind, they actually have audience, and they entertain the public. This is basically their job, there is nothing wrong about it, especially when multiple Turkish women did the same video. But as they told me in a police station, no one ever complained about them, but a policeman wrote a report about you, and so that's why you're here, and we're gonna do something about it. And so, yeah, that day, I think that was like October 3rd or 4th, I can't remember. I made that video in the neighborhood of Jadebostan. It's a nice neighborhood, and I was there making my video for maybe solid 15 minutes. And my landlord, he was basically the guy who helped me to make that video, because he was also a young guy, and I don't know, me, him, and his girlfriend, we all had a great relationship, and we also lived together. So yeah, that's how it happened. So we just made that video, and what was the situation like? There was not a single man that would come up to me, and say that, oh girl, you're looking for a rich husband, let me be your husband, something like that. No. People would just pass by, look at me, smile at me, take a picture. And so many women, they were like really having fun seeing all that. And some old man came up to me, and he was cracking jokes with me, like, yeah, something like, can I be your husband, or like, what exactly you're looking for, which type of wealth, something like that. And I was like, no, like, I'm not looking for anything, I'm making a video, like, there is the camera, and so I'm a blogger and all that. And he was like, yeah, I'm also joking because I have my spouse, and there was his wife with him, and so they just laughed and yeah, they went their way. Like, that was the vibe. Like, it was so much of positivity in there. I was just happy to make people smile. And yeah, that's it. Because back in those times, it was really kind of a normal thing for me, to make people smile and really entertain the public. I really thought that this is my best thing that I can do. And then what happened? When I posted this video, of course, the next day, I was on so many Turkish public pages again, including Instagram, Twitter, and I think that policeman basically found me from Twitter. Like, no policeman would come up to me in real life and tell me something. So some Dusty, I'm gonna call him Dusty because I don't care. Like, trust me, this whole situation just taught me that this world is full of Dusties and Pygmalions. The hate that we would receive, not only me but other girls in prison, from Turkish women and Turkish men, that was unbeatable. But let me tell you a secret. So there would be, of course, there would be like some hater men, but mainly what men do there in prison. Do you know what they do there? They satisfy their sexual needs with those girls that stay in a jail. They don't go to their Turkish women. There are plenty of Turkish security men, we call them güvenlik out there. They don't go to their Turkish women. So many married men, and they satisfy their sexual needs with prisoners, women prisoners. How do you like it? I shared my story on an interview with the very famous interviewer in Sri Lanka, and I tagged all of the possible accounts like United Nations, organizations that support women's rights, like multiple organizations, and they never even had to check my videos. And this is crazy. I cannot believe it because I have more than 100,000 followers at least on my TikTok, and also like 17K on my Instagram. And there is no way that I have audience, at least on TikTok, and I was just fully ignored. I believe this is just a whole plan to destroy the minorities, as I said. So how the policeman found me? So basically, that was probably one day after I posted that video. I can't really remember. What I remember is that I was arrested on October 6th, and a policeman came to my house on October 5th, 2024. So probably they appeared at my friend's house on October 4th, right? So it is such a funny thing because I don't even know how they found that lady. But for you to understand, I had a Russian friend in Istanbul, and he had a Turkish girlfriend. And that Turkish girlfriend, she has a sister or cousin, I think it's her sister. So the police came to this sister's house. How they found her and why her, I have no idea. But they were looking for me, maybe, like what I heard after that, maybe, they were checking like this biometrical data of my friends, maybe somebody that I follow on Instagram, or people that follow me, people that I hanged out with recently. I don't know how they found her, but they came to her house. And then my Russian friend was messaging me that day, what did you do, what happened, why police came to this girl's house, like a sister of my girlfriend? And I said, what? I literally couldn't believe. I was like, are you making fun of me? And then he sent me a detailed voice message where he explains me everything, and that they are looking for me, and they asked her if she knows me and where I'm at. And they told her that we really want to talk to her. There is no any issue with her that we have. We just want to ask her why she made such a video. We just want to know where is she at, like something like that. And so she was also shocked, right? She said that she doesn't know anything, and like she has nothing to do with me, which is true because I saw her maybe one time in my life that time. So the next day, I was sitting in Nobu, Istanbul, Beşiktaş. I was in a restaurant on a date. And that's where my landlord sent me a message that, Arina, police came to our house and they're looking for you. They left a note at our security post at the first floor, at the ground floor, that I gotta show up at the police station the next day at this time and this address, otherwise they will take me by force. And what I'm thinking about right now is that I'd better never show up, or I would better show up with the lawyer. That was my biggest mistake, because they said the same thing to my landlord. They said, we don't have any problem with her. The next day, I went to the police with my landlord, and he was bringing me with a motorbike. It was just two of us, and I was actually having a great day, to be honest. I was a little bit nervous, but I was in a whole state of understanding that there is no potential threat for me. And then he brought me there, and they never let him inside, of course. I was the only one remaining, and yeah, I just went to that room where they were asking me questions. There was a translator, and he told me that there is a policeman who has a problem with you. Like me, I have no problem with you, but this policeman, he complained about you, so now, like, I gotta answer, like, I gotta give an accountability for my action. And he was asking me questions why I made such a video, and it was just one question like that. Like, trust me, they didn't care about the video. So I believe that the higher point of arresting me was, I am an influencer, I have audience, which probably in their mind equals to that I got some money, and now they can get some money out of me with this situation, and that they will be hella rewarded after they deport me or whatever their intention was. Because this whole machine is like, they're just sucking money out of you with lawyers, with fake lawyers, and I'll also tell you about it. So there was just one question, and I said that I never had an intention to insult anyone. I'm just an influencer, and I wanted to make a funny video. And I showed him these videos that were made by other Turkish people, including Turkish women in Istanbul, that were also looking for a rich husband, and they were never arrested. And the translator told me that, yeah, but no one complained about them, so that's why, like, nobody cares, but we have a complaint, so like, we gotta review it. Policemen in Turkey, they basically have a very big power over anything, I would say, especially nowadays when they gotta arrest so many illegal immigrants and all that. And I understand they're just getting the assignment done. Okay, no problem. But how is it related to me? I still don't know. How is it related to me? Because all of the following questions were not about my video. They were about my purpose of coming to Turkey, what is the visa that I have, where I got that visa, what is my university, what is my major, and this and that. So basically all of the questions that are related to my legal presence in Turkey. That translator, I think together with the policeman, they were like, checking my passport, and they were like, oh, Maldives, oh, Sri Lanka, or Malaysia, like something like that. They were just, seeing the countries where I've been to, and probably they were already making a plan. Okay, let's get some money out of this chick. Okay. So after asking me all of these questions, I was super polite. I was super peaceful. The translator told me, yeah, like, you might be smiling now and being this relaxed, but you don't really know that you can really be deported because of what you have done. And I remember how I was checking my wallet or something, and there was a picture of an icon. It was a small icon of the Virgin Mary, and I was holding it, I was holding it between my palms, and I was just praying. I was so much nervous already. And then the lady policeman came, or policewoman, whatever you call her, and she put like some plastic handcuffs on me, and yeah, I got arrested. So they were bringing me outside of the police station, and they were making videos of the process. And you know, it was so funny. Now they were acting like influencers because we had to retake some footages, and I was crying. You know, I had a feeling like I'm drowning. I literally had a feeling like I'm drowning, like I have, you know, something in my throat that I cannot breathe, that I just cannot live. Like I wanted to die. You know, I literally wanted to die. They put me in that police car, and you know, they even turned on those like sirens, like wee wee wee, like they're literally bringing a drug dealer or a killer or someone, you know. And then even in the car, I was supposed to stay in those plastic handcuffs. And that police lady, she would check on me every time, you know, if I'm not pulling out my phone, because I pulled out my phone from my bag just once to check the time. And I tried to still send a message maybe to my mom, because my friends and of course my landlord and his girlfriend, everybody was aware that I'm going to the police. But my parents were not aware, because first of all, I never wanted to stress them out. I mean, my mom and my grandmother. And you know, I never wanted to even tell them about it, because I was sure that that day I will come back home. I asked the driver and I asked that policeman who allegedly wrote the report, and he was such a nasty ass. I'm telling you, he was so nasty, so ugly. Like, you know, this feeling of, you know, you're like feeling yourself like a man, feeling yourself so important, when you basically humiliate a 20-year-old girl and now you're putting her to jail. Oh my god, you're so cool, you're so cool, I applaud you. And I asked them, where are we going? And no one was telling me, everybody was ignoring me. And then I think the policeman, he told me we're going to Arnavutköy. And I was like, which Arnavutköy? I said, Bebek. There is a fancy neighborhood in Istanbul which is called Arnavutköy, and a small part of that Arnavutköy called Bebek. And I thought maybe they bring me to Arnavutköy because there is another police station or something, because I never knew that I'm actually getting arrested, okay? Then I'm checking the navigator, and I'm like, Jesus, are we going to Arnavutköy, which is close to the airport? I swear to God, I thought that they bring me to the airport, because I thought I'm getting deported straight up. I never knew how this process goes, right? I never knew that there are court cases to that and all that. I thought they bringing me to the airport already. And so they brought me to Arnavutköy jail. It's like I can't even explain to you. This is so bad. I got out of the car, and they again made a video of me. And then, you know, I was also wearing like some Kanye West, you know, the long sleeve from his brand, like Kanye West brand, Easy, you know, nice shoes, everything. Like I was very well put together. I even had some makeup on. Like I really looked very well put together. And I remember the way I was walking in that area looked like this, right? I'm going to put a picture. And there was also a department for men where imprisoned men stay. And everybody was looking at me, you know, from the fans. They were looking at me, those men. I believe they were questioning, like, what the hell she's doing here? She's too fine to be here. And so first of all, they brought me to some small building, like one floor building, where they do like a medical checkup. They ask you if you have any diseases, if I don't know, if you have any bruises, in case they beated you in a police station, because these kind of things also happen very often in there. So I asked if I can go to washroom. I really wanted to go there, but I was also super lucky that still by then they never took out my phone or my bag in general. And so I locked myself in the washroom, and I had the last chance, last chance to message to my landlord and send him my location, and just message like some people about where I'm at and what's going on. And the policeman was outside of the washroom that whole time. And then I just had a chance to send that message, went outside, and came back to the spot with that medical checkup. there was like some woman sitting and she could even speak English. Oh, sorry, Russian. She could even speak Russian. And when she checked my dossier, which is my file, like with my case and all, she was like, she looked at me and said, why are you even crying? Because tomorrow you will be outside. You're a student. Why are you even worried? She told me the same thing in Russian too. And then, it made me smile a little bit because she was like, smile, don't cry, relax, like it's okay, it's just a mistake or something. And then they brought me to that area where there are like metal wagons, and like usually, construction workers live in this kind of like metal wagons where there are like 6 or 8 beds, and yeah, you basically just sleep there for 1 or 2 nights, but some people stay there for more days, and from that place you are being transferred to another place, like to a real prison. I went inside of that fence. They took out my, like, all the jewelry, my bag, of course, my phones, like everything, and I only had a chance to send a last voice message to the girlfriend of my landlord that everything is all right. They told me that tomorrow or maybe in a few hours I will be already released. So if after a few hours I will not be responding, please drop a message to my mom and explain her the whole situation and everything. Oh my goodness, it was so hard because you know what? This whole time I was just thinking about my mom, like about my mom only. Um, I was thinking about what she's feeling right now because I was not picking up the phone for a very long time now, and I just wanted to die. Seriously, I just wanted to die. There was a mattress outside. I saw so many women on that mattress. They were just laying down. Some of them were smoking because somehow, like, somebody got a lighter. They were really, they were really OG. And I'm just coming in and saying, Rusça biliyor musun? Like, anybody knows Russian here? And they were like, yeah, of course, because most of the women in there are from Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and all that. And all of them were arrested because of illegal staying in Turkey. Like, all of their visas were expired, and they had a solid reason to be there. But again, I believe the treatment that they got in there, they never deserved it in their life, because these women, they are super hardworking, and they serve in restaurants. They are dishwashers. They are doing all of this kind of labor that maybe an ordinary Turkish person wouldn't do, you know what I mean? There was a lady from Brazil. She had a fully fake passport. And there was another lady from Azerbaijan, I think, and she also had a fake passport. Like, she's a Ukrainian lady. People would do all that in order to extend their visa, extend their amount of days that they can stay in Turkey. I don't know if we should skip it, but okay, we slept there for one night. The only food we had was bread with cheese, like some cheese slice between bread buns and water. When I was sleeping there at night, I saw dreams with my mom. Like, she was picking me up from there and I was hugging her. I woke up because I was crying. It was so bad. It was such a bad feeling. It's like, it's probably the most stressful situation you can ever get in. And so in the morning, the transfer came. They were calling our names. Who will go to another prison now? Call Çatalca. Çatalca now, that will be a very big chapter. So when people, were explaining me what is Çatalca, they were telling me that I'll be able to get my lawyer to Çatalca and all that and get out from there. I was thinking of, maybe some big migration center, but I never thought of that place as a real prison with cells and everything, with some kind of a schedule where people fight for phone calls and where everybody is running like crazy to make a phone call to their family, where people fight over, some basic things. Like, I never knew. Then I was named Arina Shagdaeva, Russia. Me and other ladies were picked up, and we headed to Chatalja. One important thing that I gotta mention is that all of the workers, all of the security guards, all of these office workers that reviewed my case in Arnavutköy, like no one even had a clue what am I doing here. These security guards themselves, they were asking me, what are you doing here just because of this? Because these kind of detentions are made for those who try to, as I said before, try to go to Europe illegally or overstayed in Turkey. I had no business with it. My mistake also was that I didn't pick up my registration paper form from university that I got, where they give me my student registration number and things like that. And also, what is hilarious, I literally applied for my student residence permit few days before I was arrested. I was arrested on Sunday, and on Monday I was supposed to start my university. On Friday, I just applied for my residence permit. And spoiler, my application was cancelled as soon as I was arrested. My first lawyer found out later. So I was brought to Chatalja, and when they reviewed my case in their office in there, that man told me that I'll be staying in a jail for maybe 8 to 10 months, and even lawyers will not be able to help me, something like that. And people stay in this kind of detentions for up to 1 year. Like, if your lawyer is not winning the case, maybe if you don't have a lawyer, but lawyer somehow protects you from a forced deportation, so you'll be there up to 1 year. This is the maximum amount of time that you can be there. So we're coming in. That was crazy. They brought us to the jail cell, and I was shocked. There was no place to sleep, no place to sit even. Like, some women straight up at the, I don't know how can I call it, gate, like when you enter the cell, because there are like many rooms there, maybe 5 or 6 rooms, and it's like a corridor and the rooms go like this. She was laying down on the mattress on the floor with like her leg broken or something. Like, you can just see so many women that are suffering, that are sick, they're coughing, they're just, something is going on, and this is so bad. And then I sat at the corner of the mattress, the first one that I saw right when I entered, and other ladies were like, let's go, let's look for a place to sleep, let's look for a bed or something. But there was no place to sleep. Even on one mattress on the floor, there could be 2-3 ladies sleeping together. There was no other way. So you just can imagine, right, how many diseases are there, like what's the atmosphere in there. And so I sat at the corner of that mattress, and I said, I'm not going to look for a place to sleep, because they told me that because the other people would always tell me, like especially security guards, that you will go tomorrow. Are you a student? Okay, you'll go tomorrow, don't worry. And I also had an Egyptian and South Korean girl with me who were students, and they were arrested for illegal work. I think they were working at a restaurant or something, and they were actually released after one girl went after 1 day, and another one, she was released after 2 days. And so I was very lucky. I was just checking the rooms, like, okay, where I can sleep. And then I saw a room full of only black ladies, for example, and I'm really good with African ladies, I'm very good with black people, and I thought maybe I gotta go there. But some girl told me, no, don't go there, like it's very bad in there, they're very aggressive. And I was like, okay. And then some Turkmen woman came up to me, and she was like, are you new here? Are you looking for a place to sleep? Let me bring you. And she brought me to their room, and that room was mainly like Turkmen women, I would say half and half, like half black women and also one Filipina and half white ladies like Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and all these countries. And all of them were arrested because of illegal work or overstaying in Turkey. Only two reasons. When they heard my reason, nobody could believe me, trust me. Nobody could believe me ever. I got a mattress from that Turkmen lady. They gave me blankets and what's not, and also before I entered, they gave me a paper to sign that like I agree and I confirm that I receive, a toothbrush, toothpaste, and all of the, advantages and yeah. And when I was reading that, I was like, oh my God, are they really that generous in here? Do they provide all this stuff? No, they don't provide. But after the protest that we had in there, they started providing all that. I think as soon as I entered and I spoke to ladies, then it was like a lunch time, and then I ate, and I think then I went to sleep, and then we woke up and went for the scheduled time when we are supposed to be outside for like 1 hour to call, because those telephones they were outside, and you have basically just 2 minutes. You gotta buy a card in there, and you have only 2 minutes to talk. For some countries, like if you call to Africa, for example, then the call will be just maybe 30 seconds, 30, 40 seconds, because it's like more expensive call. So, but when I called to Russia, it was just 2 minutes. So I had the chance to call my mom and talk to her, and she told me that the lawyer is already like working on your case. I know everything, like the lawyer is already coming your way, and such and such. And so what I noticed first is that when I was eating, by the way, the food was okay. Like the food was okay. There was, let's say, like lunch, there was a soup, and then some porridge, maybe some pilaf, like rice with meat, for example, or vegetables, and then something else. It was always ayran or maybe some juice, like always like kind of a nice food, to be honest. It was not bad. And they would always give unlimited amount of like bread, just some buns that you could take, and mainly those who couldn't eat that food that they serve in there, they would just eat bread, right? But what I noticed is that right after I had my meal, any type of meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, I wanted to sleep straight up. And then that Turkmen lady who became my friend in there, she told me that they actually add some powder to there, which is like a tranquilizer, like a psychotropic that calms you down. So you basically want to sleep all the time. But of course, it also had a post effect, which is I started losing my memory. After maybe 5, 7 days, I started losing my memory. I couldn't remember some phone numbers, which I could always remember. The first sign that when I realized it, I found a friend in there, an African girl from Zambia, which is right now battling cancer after everything what happened to her, and so many women that I knew from there, they died actually because of the diseases that started developing in prison. So I was talking to her. She's my very good friend, by the way, guys. She's battling cancer now. I don't know if I have a right to share her story, but I'm gonna attach all of the links if you want to donate her, if you want to see her social media and whatever she's going through. Please donate her, because I myself still support her, and I hope that she will beat the cancer, because she's a single mother too, and if she was not begging the security guards in jail to bring her to hospital, she would just, because also in there they don't give you any proper treatment, they don't give you any proper medicine. When I was talking to her, we were talking about Kanye West, because I like that artist, and then I tried to sing her a song of him, which is my favorite song, and then I realized I can't even remember the lyrics, even though back then I knew it word by word. And like, how come that now I cannot remember the lyrics? I tried to basically squeeze my brain, like what was the word in there, what was the line, and then I realized I can't remember anything. And even when we were exchanging numbers with each other, by the way, like keeping pens and pencils, everything, like even, a notebook in there, it's illegal. Like when the raid is coming, when they're going to check whatever you're keeping near to your bed, notebooks and all this stuff, it will be just, taken out from you. I gave a wrong number of mine to everybody. I literally forgot my own phone number. Can you imagine? It was very bad in the beginning, like because most of the time we wouldn't even have hot water, and it was just given maybe in a very early morning and late night. And also most of the time in the very first days there was no water at all. I remember on my first day I had to brush my teeth with Pepsi because I either bought from someone or I bought it in a market, because there is a market 2 times a day where you can buy some food and like pads, some sanitary stuff to yourself, toothbrush, even all that. uh, but the range in there was not really big, and I don't even know how people with no money in there actually cope, because thanks God I had some cash with me, and if I wouldn't have it I wouldn't survive. Like people who survive there with no money, I don't know how they take it. Also, so many women are being aggressive because they, like, there is a boss in every room, like some older lady there is managing everything. Usually they will not let, for example, a new girl in. If they don't like her, no, she's not, we're not getting her in, she's not sleeping here. Even though we can afford it and we can give her a place to sleep, no, she's not welcomed here. So racism and everything is there, of course. But what I saw, like, let me tell you, I saw so much of love around me. I saw so much of support around me, because girls that I met there, they were really sweet, and it's just some kind of a spiritual experience too. Security guards in there are mainly extremely strict, and especially when it comes to women security guards, female security guards. Male security guards are not that strict, and as I mentioned before, they satisfy their sexual needs with some girls, and they actually have a type. Like maybe they would never look at a girl like me. They always prefer girls who are covered, in hijab. These kind of girls, they just choose them. They have eye contact with them, they start flirting with them, talking with them in Turkish, because most of, like, ladies that stay there, they mainly can speak Turkish, except maybe African girls. This man would invite them to go out of the cell at night, and they go to özel oda, which is a private room, like, a fine room when you do something outstanding, when you break some inner law. They put you to that private room, so you stay there alone. You go have your meals separately, or like they're delivered to this room. You're just always like separately, and this is a kind of a punishment. So when these rooms are available, these men, they take these girls at night, and they satisfy their sexual needs in there. And do you know what girls receive as an exchange? As an exchange currency? For example, a video call with their family. Some of the very lucky girls, they might take release. They can be released after some time, if they've been in a relationship with these guys continuously. And also, the most funniest, girls are getting like fresh blankets to themselves, fresh pillows, shampoos, like all this stuff, which is needed, and you cannot basically take it. I remember when they would give us blankets when it was like already kind of cold. There would be November, month of November. People would fight for these blankets. Hey, they would fight. They also used to perform forced deportations. It's like when you've been in that prison for already like 2-3 months, and your lawyer is not coping, nothing is going on with your case.
I also need to add that those forced deportations were the most scariest part of the whole time in prison, because in that case you would go just with the black trash bag to your homeland. You don't have any chance to go to your home where you stayed to pick up your documents if you were arrested without them. Whatever you have right here and right now, you're just going like that to your country. And in the case of the forced deportation, not the one that you signed up for and bought a ticket for yourself, because there is also an option, you're also not allowed to use your phone up until the moment you land in your country. And all this time, the bunch of security, we call them gendarme in there, escort you. That is exactly what's going on in the US right now with ICE raids, but I never heard anybody talking about this situation in Turkey. However, is the same. The gendarmes just take you, they take your body, your legs, your arms if you hesitate, and they just drag you to the bus, and then they bring you to the airport.
So just because they had to give some free space to new arriving girls, they would just deport some ladies by force, especially from Middle Eastern countries and especially from Turkmenistan. Because in the beginning there would be like maybe 80-90% of women from Turkmenistan, and then gradually it became more like black girls and Iranian girls, Syrian girls. When it comes to Russian girls, there would be just me, and there was also a group of girls, 3 of them, and also very young like me, and two more ladies, and one of them, like, her story is so dramatic. And you know what is the most saddest part? I literally forgot her name. I tried to remember her name, but I forgot it. I don't have any contact, and as I know, she doesn't even have her phone or something. So she was adopted by Russian parents, but she is basically from Ukraine, as I remember, and she grew up in Russia. She had Russian and Ukrainian passports both, and because of the political situation in Russia, uh, like some time ago, a policeman came to her house, or like she received a call about, like, we saw that, you're calling to Ukraine, or maybe she was sending money to Ukraine just because she has her real, like, relatives in there. So they told her that you better leave the country, or either like you'll be in a trouble. So then she left country, and I think she went to Turkey, but then something happened with her passports. Like, so some actions were already taken from a Russian side, and then she got arrested in Turkey, and so she ended up in a situation when she cannot even go any side, like neither Ukraine, neither Russia, neither any of these countries. And that was crazy because, oh my god, like, I don't even know, she got no money, she got no phone, she ended up in a very, very bad situation. I honestly cannot remember all of the details because, as I mentioned before, I lost so much of memories, not only because it was my real traumatic experience, but also because of those tranquilizers that I was consuming almost daily, until I realized, until I was told what's actually is wrong with this food, and it influenced my brain a lot, trust me.
To prove my words, I am attaching the link down below for that article that was published shortly after we had a protest in there. I'm going to tell you more about it in this video a little later. And also you can see the screenshot of that article with the translation. That workers themselves shouted at us and said that, yeah, this food is poison, but you will be eating this, you're stupid dogs.
The days were passing in Chatalja. It was a very bad treatment most of the time. I remember those times when it could be a raid early morning. They would just start checking our beds, as I told you, like whatever we keep with us. But for that, they had to bring us outside. I remember that morning, it was already like November. It was super, super cold. And I just woke up. I was in shorts and some tank top like this. And it was probably like, +5, +6 degrees outside. And then I didn't know that they bring us outside for these reasons. I thought that, they're trying to wake me up to go for breakfast. And then I just put my sleepers on and I went. And then when I was downstairs, I was like, what the hell, are we going outside? Do we have a raid? And I was already sick that time. I got sick in that first jail maybe for 3 or 4 times, because it was always very humid in there, very cold. Most of the time there was no hot water, no proper nutrition, right? So I was just having some type of flu all the time. But I think mainly that was because of the mold. It is very dangerous. It starts to destroy your lungs and all that. I was very scared because of that. I couldn't go outside like that. and there was a security guard, a man, and I was telling him that, see the way I'm looking, the way I'm wearing, and I'm also sick. I can't go outside now and be there, for a solid hour or something until you check our things and you check us. And I'm also carrying nothing, so like, what are you going to check? Can I please stay inside? I think it's just a basic thing to ask for. But he shouted at me. He was like, Sus. And the vein on his neck, it could be seen, when he was really tensed, when he was really like, Sus. It was so disgusting. Sus in Turkish means like shut up, like be silent. He was shouting at me, bro. I hate this man. I hate these people in there. I think I have all of the rights. Especially there are so many young people working, under 30 years old. And I'm 21 now, okay? So they were basically a little older than me, maybe 26, 28, 30 max. And they would go for a job like that. And so I want to dedicate just few minutes to a very special story that happened to me there. It was a turning point of when I could really get released after only 2 months. All because I called that man that I was on a date with the day before I was arrested, and I never called him again and he knew that I'm going to the police. I told him the story. And after that, he never heard from me, right? I told you that I met an African girl from Zambia in there. And when I was sharing her my story, she told me, Arina, I think you should call him. And I know the security guard, Güvenlik, that may help you to get your phone and get the number of this man. Like, really call him. You never know. You never know how he can help you in this situation. And I also remember when, I was talking in that group of girls, that girl from Zambia and another lady from Cameroon. Her name was Yvonne. She passed away. When I was describing why I'm here and what happened, and I was looking for a rich husband, that woman, she was very faithful. She told me that, yeah, you're absolutely right. Why would I want a poor husband? God is no poor. That's the phrase that she told me, and this saying stays with me forever now because it is so on point. God is no poor. God delivers. And already back then she was there for maybe 4 or 5 months. She spent so many months in prison, and as soon as she was released, she passed away. She got some disease going on. I don't know what exactly. I can't remember. But rest in peace to Yvonne, like Grace told me, Arina, you should call that man. I'll help you. And so she pointed me at one Güvenlik. So when I came up to him, I think she was there with me. I was begging him. I was like, can I get my phone, please? Because also after maybe a couple of weeks, the line to Russia was not working anymore. It just stopped working. I couldn't connect the call to Russia. I tried for so many times, and then I just couldn't call my mom. So he understood my situation, and he was like, okay, you come up to me tomorrow. And then I was coming up to him maybe during like 2-3 following days. And then finally he helped me to get my phone, and that was actually the right that I had, because I later found out so many women would do that. Like, you actually have a right to ask for your phone in there maybe 2 times, and during these 2 times you have a right to write down 3 phone numbers. And so I took a number of that man that helped me out. I called him, and straight up he hired me a lawyer. And let me tell you, the first lawyer, she just tried to scam my family. She already took around I don't remember, 500 to 700 euros for her job back then, and she was doing nothing. Even though my case was so damn simple, you just had to, basically call to my university and get a confirmation that I'm a student, and that's it. Since I'm a student, I'm not supposed to be here, period. Like, I'm released. But she was just, trying to drag the time and just take the money out of my family slowly. That lawyer was brought to us from that Russian's friend side that was a boyfriend to, I told you in the beginning, right? And then that man, his name was Apo. He brought me a lawyer, and I met them. I explained my situation, but later like the court decision takes like up to 9 days or something. We found out that we lost the court case because now it's too late to apply for any kind of appellation. After a very short period of time already, I was transferred to another jail in Kütahya. Just for you to also imagine what's going on in there, we had so many parties in there. We would have a bucket and just play music with the bucket, like so many famous songs, of black artists and like some pop artists. We would dance, we would shake with our African girls. Also, I mentioned about that room that only belonged to black ladies. So that room, they called it church, because every evening they would pray there. They would sing some, gospel songs in there. They would read Bible out loud and everything. I want to tell you about one turning point, after which one they started transferring people really hard to different jails, because we had a protest in there. I'm also going to put videos. All of the links will be attached in the description, so you can see all of the videos and everything yourself, all of the articles on internet too. On that day of protest, it was agreed one day before among us, among our ladies, that we are not going to go for meals, we are not going to buy from a supermarket, we are not going to go outside basically like the whole day or maybe for 2 days, and we will be protesting for our freedom. So in Turkish, word freedom, like liberation, release, means serbest. And so that day we woke up, and after breakfast, I guess, we started the protest. We started just, well, first of all, most of the people, they never went like for any meal. For most of the people wouldn't go outside. Only Turkmen women, they were super afraid, so they would just obey and go everywhere. But most of us, we stayed in, and we started screaming like serbest, serbest, and everybody was punching the wall, like taking any kind of tools, any kind of things, just there was, for example, like a metal door or any, like, that cage or whatever it's called, like they were like punching, serbest, serbest. So you already saw that on the video. Oh my goodness, that day Jandarma came. That main security female person came in, and she started cursing all of us, and they were like, what do you want? You just tell us, what do you want? What are you not satisfied with? And we were like, bro, we have no medicine, we have no medical treatment. Can I tell you something as a secret? There was a doctor, and doctor holds so much of power, right? Because he can write you a medical report where it will be said that you have some very dangerous disease and that you gotta be released ASAP. And for that, he will also use you sexually. But that doctor, who was also old as hell, he was maybe close to 70 or maybe even more than that, he also had a type. Like, he would always choose a girl, who is short, black hair, like pretty face, and of course Muslim girls. Like, I don't know for which reasons, but they only choose Muslim women in there when it comes to these kind of things. So that man, he had sexual connections with at least 2-3 girls that I knew, and the deal was like, okay, you do this for me now, and I'm going to write you a report, and after you'll be released, you just pay me like $1,000 and we done. None of the girls that was released, nobody paid him ever. But yeah, there was also a way to get out. After that protest happened, they started transferring us hard to other different prisons all around Turkey. And some women, they would go to Antalya. Can you just imagine how far is it from Istanbul? I think it's not less than 10 to 12 hours on the road from Istanbul. And then they brought them to Ankara, like different places, and Kütahya. So there are some jails from where there is basically no way out, because sometimes they release people just because the time has come, and it's more like a random thing, because they have to release the space for new arriving ladies. So they just release older ones. Me and my friend Grace, that early morning we were transferred to Kütahya. We heard our names, and they would do it like fascist people. I remember like transfers would always happen around 4 or 5 a.m., super early morning, or maybe late at night, when no one actually has a clue on what's going on. And you know why people don't want to get transferred? Because after you get transferred, for example, because it's like an administrative case that you'll be going through, and after you're released, still you have to sign like some paper every month that you are not leaving the country and all that, so they can observe you, right? Because your case is still going on. Imagine if you are living in Istanbul and you have an apartment in Istanbul, maybe you have your family in there and basically everyone, and now you're transferred to Kütahya, which is just a village, just a hella village, like 4 or 5 hours from Istanbul, away from Istanbul, and you cannot even now go out of this region, because whereas your signature is going on, like you also gotta live there in that particular district. You cannot go out of this region, because if you will leave from that district, you will be imprisoned again. This is the system. So people pray for staying in any jail around Istanbul at least, because if you will be locked in some other region, like that's where you will have to start your life over again in that place. And I'm thinking about some women that were even transferred to Antalya, for example, and I cannot believe that. I remember so many women, they were sick, and I don't know if they're still alive. They were transferred to Antalya from Istanbul, and now where they at and what they're doing.
Excuse my grieving face expression, but there was a woman, her name was Mehriban, and she was very, very sick when she was transferred to Antalya. I tried to ask some ladies where is she at right now, what's up with her. No one knows nothing, and I also never heard from her. As I remember, she was 48 years old, and she told me a story how she was almost sold to a sex slavery by one of her friends in Turkey, and she tried to sell her for $500, and she barely escaped.
99%, if you're trying to go from that region to Istanbul, you'll be arrested again, because even the buses that go there, any kind of a vehicle that you take to go there, uh, police would always stop this vehicle and check people's documents. It's just a normal thing in Turkey nowadays. We were transferred to Kütahya, and that prison in there, the jail in there, looked even more like a jail than all of the previous one where we've been to, because you're coming in and it's like white walls and all that. Oh my god. But a funny part, there was also a male department in there. So girls that stay there for a long time, they have their lovers, they exchange love letters. Even I have them. I had two fans in there, one from Congo, another one from Tunisia. And they just bring you chocolates to your window and stuff like that. It's just very romantic, but it's also very dangerous to have a relationship in there, because for that you can be punished. Either like you will go to that private room, or you will just get deported in the worst situation. When we came there, I don't even know how to explain to you. It was just again like a corridor and rooms on the sides, but we even got a TV room. There is also a canteen. It's like a market, supermarket, where you can buy foods, but the queues are so long, like you barely go outside, you're trying to get something for yourself, and it's already time to wrap up. Kütahya was more conservative, I would say, but less stressful. But the main disadvantage of that place was like that, again, it's also very hard to get out from there, like if you're unless your lawyer wins your case. I already told you that two of my previous lawyers, they couldn't win my case, even though it was super easy. I don't know, but I know, right, God has a plan, and he was keeping me there for that amount of time that probably was needed for me to learn my lessons, to maybe meet some certain beautiful souls in there. And then that man Apo, really God bless him, he hired the last third lawyer, and she won my case within 2 or 3 days. She just immediately called my university. She required that paper that confirms that I'm a student, and finally, sharp after 2 months of battling, we won the case. And I remember that I told you we had lovers in there. So I remember that day I was talking to my Congolese lover through the window, and the funny thing, he couldn't even speak English. He could only speak French and a little bit of Turkish. And thanks God we got a Congolese girl in there. She would always translate for me, or we could speak some broken Turkish, exchange love letters, as I said. This is extremely funny. And so I remember right after that, the security guards called me, and they were like, Arina, and they asking me, Eşya var mı? Like, para var mı? Do you have your things with you? Do you have your money with you? I said yes, yes, yes. And I was convinced, I was sure that they are taking me to that private room because I'm getting my punishment for talking to a man. But then they told me serbest, and I couldn't believe my ears. And then I called my mom and I told her straight up, and they told me that at first they will take me to a hospital, and they will like check me, and after that I will go home basically. But they took me to a hospital quite late. It was already maybe around 7 p.m. and I could only come back to jail like around 11 p.m. I could say goodbye to all of my beloved friends in there. It sounds very funny, but really, the ghosts that you meet there, they're just wonderful. Like, they're just souls. I'll tell you some very hurtful story. There was also, I think, 2 or 3 girls from Eritrea or Ethiopia. I think some of them were from Eritrea and another one was from Ethiopia, something like that. So what they try to do, there are so many cases like that in there. They paid money to some company or whatever, to some mafia, that promised them to take them from Turkey to Greece by a boat. And what happened to these girls precisely is that when they got on a boat and they almost reached Greece, the Greek police caught them. And I think they were asking them, to give out their phones and all of their stuff. And one of the girls, she was not giving out like whatever she got with her. And then the Greek policeman, he just either like hit her or something happened. She just fell into the sea and she couldn't swim and she just died. She just drowned. And so I think there was 3 girls in the beginning, but only 2 left because one of them, she just died. And the Greek police sent them back to the Turkish side, and that's it. That's how they ended up there. So these kind of cases, these kind of girls, they stay there for a year. They finish there a year. And what I don't understand is that then how can you be released in there in Turkey and you're basically in the place you have never been to before? You barely speak the language and now you're supposed to go somewhere. And what if you don't even have money? You don't even have a phone. Like, now how are you going to cope with your life? I don't understand this process. Of course, you always can sign up for a deport to your country, but of course African people mainly and Turkmen women mainly, they don't want to go to their country. Like Russians, they would sign for a deport. Kazakh people, they would sign for a deport. Middle Eastern girlies too, but not African or Turkmenistan girlies. I got some money in my wallet, and then when I was released, it was like 11:30, maybe midnight, I can't remember. And then I was looking for a taxi. As I remember, I also didn't have internet, but some security guard from that jail helped me to call taxi, and then he said to the driver that they gotta bring me to some hotel, and then he brought me to the hotel. The hotel was extremely expensive, like 60 euros for that room for that room in that hotel, in that town. Like, that town is particular, I'm telling you, it's a village. But thanks God I had money, and the next morning Apo came to pick me up and he brought me to Istanbul. But then I actually realized this whole time I was not supposed to come back to Istanbul, like, because they gave me a signature in Kütahya, and so I was supposed to stay in that region. And then I came there again after 2 days because they gave me the date when I'm supposed to come and sign, and also they gave me an obligation to sign it like every 2 weeks. You imagine, like, every 2 weeks I would go from Istanbul to Kütahya, and it's like 5 hours away. And so thanks God I had my papers from my university, so I could claim that I'm a student and I live in Istanbul and I'm supposed to be present, you know, in my university. So they changed my signature location to Istanbul, and then I went there for a couple of times, like, to sign. And then they told me that now you can be arrested anytime. Like, after 2 times that I went to sign in Istanbul, that person that works in that office, they told me, like, please talk to your lawyer because the next time you will come you can be arrested. And then we realized it is still a result of a mistake that my very first lawyer did. So she applied, like, she tried to stop my deportation process, but she either, like, lost a case or she applied too late. So my case was still going on, even though I thought that my case is closed now, it's finished. But there was another case opened against me because they tried to deport me, and that one was still going on, and it was too late to submit any appellation. So yeah, they told me that thing, and I never went to sign again. And then an earthquake in Istanbul happened. It was approximately in April, and I lived on the 19th floor in a very tall building. It was like the 19th floor was the last one, the highest one. And I remember that I was so scared for my life, so I just realized this is not the way I gotta leave. Like, Turkey is basically kicking me out, and I gotta take the sign, I gotta accept it, and I gotta leave this country. And then there was the hardest part, because I was looking for a way to leave, because what these people do, they basically claim that you also cannot leave the country during this 1 year, and that, you are just obligated to sign, but you don't have any right to travel neither outside of your region, neither outside of the country. And then, you guys cannot believe, I connected with the lawyer with one of the guys who is also quite famous in Russia, because he was also in prison in Turkey, but he was like in a real prison for criminals. You guys cannot believe, I will also attach his social media and his Telegram channel. That will be in Russian language, but so you will understand. Him and his friend, they were illegally taken in Istanbul for, so they were shopping. They just came for shopping from Russia. They were buying things at Zara, and then the cashier didn't scan like a couple of t-shirts, and their whole check was around maybe $500, and the cashier didn't scan just 2 t-shirts, right? And when they were coming outside, these things, detectors were like beep beep, and the security guard took them, and he was claiming that you are stealing and you are a thief, you guys are thieves. And in Turkey, stealing something equals to killing someone. So they were taken like to a criminal kind of a prison. So they spent there 40 days, and I saw this guy posting about this experience on TikTok and Telegram, and then I connected with him, and he also gave me a contact of a lawyer that helped him. That was a really smart one, because after I spoke to him, I had a clarity, because my lawyer, she didn't know for sure. So I got a clarity that I actually can leave the country, but it's like a 50-50 chance, because to like complete the deportation process, they still have a right to take me back to the detention and keep me there for some time until the deportation like process, including all the documentation, is over. So that day, I like those few days I was so much nervous because I knew I need to leave the country. I don't want to be here, and you know, I'm just basically wasting my life. You know, I'm not free to work, I'm not free to move. But I just freaked out. I don't even know what was that, you know, especially talking about such topic and then it happens. I don't even know. So I was not free to move around the city because every time I would see the police, I would understand that basically the time when I was arrested, they took out all of my documents. They stopped my application process for a residence permit. So I couldn't even understand to the fullest, what am I? Am I legal or illegal in here? Because I still have this signature, so it means like I need to be inside of the country. So like, who am I in this country? What are the rights that I have? And so I was talking to ChatGPT, guys. You know, I went to the official website of this like migration of Turkey, and I tried to find some laws regarding my situation. Then I tried to analyze everything with ChatGPT, and from Hella GPT, I found out that most likely I can leave the country, and whatever these lawyers told me, it's not completely right, because I even found some other lawyer, like the third lawyer online, and it was just like some website on Google. And then when I spoke to them, they told me $1,000 to finish your case, and then you'll be able to leave the country. $1,000. These people are such scammers. They will drag your case until the last moment, you know, until it's too late, until you're deported by force now, just to get the money out of you. Like, they don't care about your life and your rights. Trust me, they're so nonsense. But thanks God to the one who released me. Like, she was a real pro. So yeah, with ChatGPT, I found out that I can leave the country, and I went to the airport one day. It was beginning of May 2025, and I just had to pay a fine for overstaying in Turkey, because you know, when they took out my documents, like my student residence application and all that, like since then they started counting the days when I was already illegal. And thanks God I was never caught, because if I was caught again, I would be imprisoned again. This is like real stories that people still deal with. So you basically never get your full freedom back if you still choose to stay in Turkey. And what's most funny, and what's the most craziest part, not even all of the people know that they're able to leave the country. Most of the people are not even aware about it. Okay, so yeah, I paid that fine. It was like around $50, and then I had a travel ban from Turkey for 6 months. But I'm never going there again in my life, obviously. And then yeah, I could board my airplane. Until I boarded the airplane, I could never believe. And then I was flying to Sri Lanka, and I had a layover in Qatar, I think. Yeah, in Qatar. And when I was going from Qatar to Sri Lanka already, Sri Lankan Airlines gave me a business class upgrade, you know, everything. I was literally feeling like I'm coming back to my holy land, and I'm coming back to the place where I belong. And of course, I'm grateful to God for this whole experience. And I met friends, you know, I learned some lessons. And I saw women dying there, you know. Also, I didn't mention it too much, but I saw women dying there. Women kill themselves there. I just don't know how is it, you know. I have goosebumps, oh my God. I don't know if I can say it out loud here in this video, posting this on YouTube. I don't know how is it. But I saw things in there. And I think that was too much for my 20 years old, but I'm grateful for this kind of experience in my life. And I also didn't tell you a story of human trafficking. There was a lady, a black lady, she was pregnant, and there are actually so many women that stay with their babies too. She was pregnant and she was given a birth, and they took her to a hospital. She gave a birth, and the doctors told her that your baby came out dead. And when the lady asked to see her baby, the doctor said that it's not possible because we already buried your baby. So how you guys think where this baby headed to? Do you think it was buried? Do you think they buried the baby? Or maybe they trafficked the baby? Another lady from our room, she got paralyzed. I don't know why, maybe because of stress or whatever, because they checked her whole like tests, like blood tests and what's not, and there was no reason for her to be paralyzed, but she just couldn't move. She couldn't even go to toilet. She couldn't even eat, you know. Ladies were helping her around, bringing her everywhere. She couldn't even walk. So those security guards told her, stop pretending. Like, what you want, stop pretending. If you'll be pretending more like this, you'll get deported by force. My friend Grace from Zambia, she's battling cancer now because she got a cyst rupture, I guess, or whatever is related to ovary. She got some surgery and she was in Kutahi at that time. That was after I was released. She remained basically alone. And then because the doctors did not fully remove the tissues of that cyst, so the cancer started developing inside of her body, ovarian cancer. You know, I have so many stories. I saw this all with my own eyes. And my purpose is to bring awareness because when I was, and when my family and friends were searching for these kind of videos about prisons in Turkey, what's going on in there, nobody could find any worthy information or any worthy, you know, fresh video that explains the whole situation. And I want to claim again that I was there absolutely illegally. The law that they sued me by, and the end of the things was that like I am a threat to society, and I just want people to be really aware. And there is no way that my case went from that I have no visa to this, even though I have my visa, it is still in my passport, you guys. And they never even put an effort to call my university to claim if I'm a real student or, you know, I'm just pretending, because I had all of the evidence and I was fully legal. And it is out of pocket. It's a very changing, it's a very transforming experience. And I hope you guys will stay aware and very careful. And yeah, I hope this video was useful and interesting for you. I'm going to share all of the links, all of the articles which are available online, so you will have an idea of what's going on in these jails. And once again, they are not made to keep people like me in there. I was not supposed to be there. Nobody could understand. Even when I came to my uni, after all that happened, my law teacher, he was like, what? What? So I would also love to know the clarity and to have some explanation on what was that. Maybe if there are some smart people out here, maybe some lawyers from Turkey, they can explain to me. But none of my lawyers and none of my friends and even teachers, professors, they couldn't find any answer. But this is just what I went through. Thank you guys. Don't forget to follow me. Thank you for being here and listening to me. I was going to make this video for a very long time, and finally I got the courage. Thank you so much for your support. Bye bye.